Is Kodree actually worth it for learning in 2026? You know how it goes. You get inspired, you find a course, you watch the intro video and think, okay, this is it. I'm finally doing this. And then a week later, you haven't opened it since, maybe 2 weeks, and you feel a bit bad about it, but you tell yourself you'll get back into it eventually. You probably won't. And here's the thing. It's not a you problem. That's a format problem. Today, I want to be honest about why most online learning doesn't work, and whether a platform called Kodree actually changes that. Links are in the description, as always, but let me show you. But first, why does this keep happening? Because I think it's worth naming before we get into the platform. The common assumption is that people quit because the material gets too hard, or life gets busy, and for sure that plays a role. But the real reason is usually simpler. Nothing feels like progress. You sit through 20 minutes of video content, close the tab, and realize you still couldn't actually do anything with what you just watched. No task completed, no problem solved, nothing built. Once that feeling sets in a few times in a row, your brain just stops showing up. That's the cycle Kodree is specifically designed to break. So, Kodree's core approach is 80% practice, 20% theory, and you can actually feel that ratio from the first session. Let me walk you through what it actually looks like. Say you're doing SQL. You get a short explanation, as you can see here. We're talking a couple of paragraphs, not a 40-minute lecture. And then you're thrown immediately into a hands-on task. Write a query, get instant feedback on whether it's right or wrong. And you know what's the best part of it? You don't have to install anything. It's all built in. And I'm using it on the desktop version. I just opened it and it's ready to go. Now, all course platforms make promises, right? But that 80-20 ratio, that's genuinely unusual. Most platforms front-load theory and hope you'll eventually reach the practice. Kodree does the opposite, and completing each task gives you an immediate sense of reward, which sounds small, but it's the whole thing. That's what keeps you coming back. Because you don't wait weeks to feel like you're making progress. You already feel it in the first session. There's also an AI assistant built into the platform called Ask Luke. And this one works the way I wish more AI tools did. When you get stuck, and you will get stuck, Ask Luke doesn't just give you the answer. It explains what went wrong, points you toward the right direction, and gives you a hint so you can figure it out yourself. You're never really left staring at an error with no idea what to do next. But you're also not just copying a solution. You're actually working through it. For absolute beginners who genuinely need more help, there is a view solution option. But the default experience keeps you thinking, which is exactly what you want from a learning tool. The result is that you don't get stuck for long, and you don't quit out of frustration. Here's another thing that's easy to underestimate: the gamification. Kodree has streaks, leaderboards, and experience points, the usual stuff. And I know that it can sound gimmicky, but when you're doing a lot of small tasks in quick succession and each one gives you a little dopamine hit, it really does build momentum. It's light, it's not pressured, but it works. It's the difference between learning feeling like a chore and learning feeling like something you actually want to open. And the mobile app is worth mentioning here too. Kodree is on web, iOS, and Android. For smaller tasks or concept reviews, the app works perfectly. A 10-minute commute, waiting to pick someone up, whatever, that counts as a real session. The platform is built around real life, not the ideal conditions where you've somehow blocked off 2 uninterrupted hours on a Tuesday. Content-wise, Kodree has 6 career paths, full from 0 to pro tracks in things like data analytics, UX UI design, Python developer, front-end, full stack, and project management. Each one is a structured roadmap that starts from 0 and builds toward a specific job role. So if you're thinking about switching careers into tech and you have no idea where to start, that structure is actually really valuable. You're not just collecting random courses, you're following a path. Each one comes with a full learning roadmap, practice tasks, and a certificate at the end. For standalone courses, there are 30+ options, and the team is actively adding new ones to cover the most in-demand topics. Things like AI, machine learning, and vibe coding are already there, alongside Python, SQL, Figma, and more. It's a solid lineup for anyone in that beginner to intermediate range, and the catalog is still growing. And of course, I'm happy to inform you guys that Kodree offers several subscription plans. There's also a lifetime option if you want to lock it in permanently. I'll drop a link in the description with an active deal. They currently have an intro offer with a pretty significant discount, so definitely check that before paying full price. And if you're not sure yet, there's actually a 1-week trial option, so you can test it out before committing to a longer plan. So is Kodree worth it? If you've started courses before, watched hours of content, and still feel like you couldn't actually do anything, that's exactly the problem Kodree is trying to solve. And from what I've seen, it does solve it. The practice-first approach, the AI mentor, the mobile flexibility, it's a genuinely different experience from the usual tutorial grind. Not perfect, not for everyone, but for the right person, it's one of the better options out there right now. Go and check it out yourself with the link in the description.